Good morning. Microphone check. One, two, three. Microphone check for captions. One, two, three. Good morning. Time is 9 o'clock. This is the second microphone check of the day. Mic check 1 2. Microphone check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2 3.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to call this meeting of the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality to order. Today is Wednesday, May 31st, 2023. The time is 9:30 a.m. With us today are Commissioners Emily Lindley and Bobby Janecka, as well as our General Counsel, Mary Smith, and I'm John Neerman. For those of you who are making presentations, please wait to begin your presentation until our General Counsel or I have asked you to do so. And on items where argument or discussion is allowed, we will inform speakers of their time limits. Registration has now closed, but if you would like to address the commission on a particular item, please email agenda@tceq.texas.gov with your name, your affiliation, and the item you'd like to speak to, and we will do our best to accommodate that request. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Commissioner Lindley to say a few words.
Thank you, Chairman. We plan to start off by, going a little off script and recognizing our Deputy Executive Director, Brent Wade. Today is his last day. So we'll call you up I'll probably let the chairman call you up in a few, but I'm going to give my spiel first. I could talk a long time about Brent, mostly good. Brent and I got to know each other. I was doing the math this morning. I think it was about 2011. That's when I started in Intergovernmental Relations Division. And Brent was always really good about doing walk-bys. He would walk around, visit with people in the morning. And so I became one of the stops. And without fail, every time it happened, I would be eating in my office. And Brent would just come in and watch me eat, and that just kind of became our thing. And it was funny a few times, and then it happened for years. It's now 2023. I don't know, Brent, there's probably been 5 times you've come to my office in 12 years I wasn't eating. We joked that I was kind of the Brad Pitt in Ocean's 11. I was just always eating whenever he came by. So today's bittersweet because I'm excited for this next phase for you. I'm sad that you're leaving, but I'm also happy. I might be able to shed a few pounds finally with you gone. But in all seriousness, I've loved chatting with Brent over the years. He's funny. He's kind. We would talk about non-work most of the time, West Texas banter, whatever you want to call it. But what I love about Brent is anytime you talk to him, kind of weaved in, there'd be little pearls of wisdom. And I wish I had written more of it down. I've got it up here, but I can't regurgitate it. He's worked everywhere at this agency, and he's worked here a very long time, and he's seen it all. And, I know I've probably never told you, Brent, how much I admire and respect you, but I do. And I've just learned so much from you over the years, and I'm going to miss our chats, but I'm going to miss a lot of the little pearls of wisdom you drop off without, meaning to. So you've had a really, I think, good influence on my life, and so I'm glad we've gotten to work together, and I'm really glad I've gotten to know you, and I'm sad today is here. But I'll let you gentlemen say a few words as well.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Janecka?
Thank you so much. I really echo Commissioner Lindley's sentiments and only want to add that I was really fortunate in the time that I spent working at this agency before I came to this commission as working in the Office of Waste, working under your leadership. And it's very clear from all directions how much weight and how much load the leaders at our agency carry. And that work experience that Commissioner Lindley alluded to, I think, was invaluable in our cozy little corner of the agency that I got to learn and work with you and see you as a leader. And I always was grateful for the time that you really opened up and made yourself available. And it was really meaningful interactions. And I just I can't help but note that feels like one of the more meaningful qualities that I've picked up from you in trying to operate consistently with the rest of the agency vibes. And I think we'll have a lot of good employees echoing that as we go, but you've just poured so much into this agency and this avenue of public service over the years. Thank you so much. And we sincerely will miss you. It'll be a loss, but good luck.
Thank you, Commissioner. Brent, I just want to echo my colleagues and their congratulations and their gratitude for your service and their well wishes as you embark on retirement. I have a couple of mementos for you. One, a flag that was flown over the Capitol, and the other, a certificate of congratulations and well wishes from Governor Abbott and the First Lady. And if you'll meet me at the podium, I can deliver those to you and also give you an opportunity to say a few words if you'd like.
You look sharp.
Somebody dress me.
It works, right? Everybody hear me? You know, I always wondered what the over and under would be on me leaving the agency with or without David Timberger's assistance. But I won that race.
It's still time.
Yeah, still time. Well, yeah. Denise will cut my access off here in just a minute. But one thing I've learned about this, and I think it's true of all of us, we don't do this alone. We have a lot of mentors in our life that get us here. People that guide us, guide our path. And they also provide us opportunities, through the way. Many times it's opportunities to sink or swim. And you do. You tread water from time to time, but you get through it. I'm especially grateful to this commission and past commissions as well for the leadership that y'all demonstrate, the policy that you establish, lack of a better term, our compass, is to moving forward. Also, I want to, obviously, want to thank the exec team, between Aaron, Stephen, Susan, who's a miracle, and Denise and Michelle. They've been great to work with. The directors the office directors were incredible to work with. I've known them for a long time. Not only are they great colleagues, but they've been great friends. Very grateful to them. The thing about them, probably their single greatest strength is their unity, and how they interact with each other and to move us forward. They really couldn't do anything. Time's a funny thing. 34 years. It's a long time. And I was thinking about what is that time, and it just give you an idea. 34 years ago, one of my first three commissioners was Cliff Johnson, and 34 years later, Morgan's sitting there all lawyered up. So that's that's a lot of time. You're like, what, one, if that. But time's a funny thing. But one thing I did want to mention before I left. The accomplishments that I've had, whatever they were or weren't, they were made so much better by the support and complete confidence from my wife. So that was a little hard, but she's never wavered. It's a funny thing about that when you're married to somebody from the agency. Most of us, we get through work here. We get to go home. We get to leave it there. When I get home, it's just starting. So beyond that, again, thank you all. Thank you for this. Thank you for helping me along a great career. I've enjoyed it. Wouldn't trade it for anything. I would go back and do SWCM, though. But other than that, thank you all.
Thank you, Brent. So for those of you who came here for actual state business, thanks for bearing with us as we took care of a really important sort of internal family milestone. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And Ms. Smith, I'll ask you to please call the first item.
Item number 1 is the application for the creation of Rockwood Municipal Utility District Number 1 of Denton County. The parties have been notified that the commissioners will not take oral argument but may ask questions, and those who have signed in will be noted for the record.
Colleagues, this one seems pretty straightforward to me. Because the town of Ponder's extraterritorial jurisdiction and certificates of convenience and necessity overlap the proposed municipal utility district, it's clear to me, and I agree with the executive director's staff, as well as the Office of Public Interest Counsel, that we should grant that hearing request. Commissioner Lindley?
I'm in agreement.
Likewise.
I'll make a motion then. I would move that we grant the hearing request of the town of Ponder and refer the petition for the creation of Rockwood Municipal Utility District Number 1 of Denton County to SOA for a contested case hearing on the petition.
I second the motion.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next item.
Item number 2 is the application by North Texas Municipal Water District for new TCEQ permit number WQ 00053230000. The parties have been notified that the commissioners will not take oral argument but may ask questions, and those who have signed in will be noted for the record.
Colleagues, as you know, Chapter 55 of our rules lays out a two-part analysis for considering requests for contested case hearings on this type of application. First, we consider whether the requesters have met the procedural and substantive requirements to be entitled to a contested case. And assuming that at least one requester does meet those requirements, we then consider which issues are appropriate to refer for hearing. So part 1 is about who gets a hearing, and part 2 is about which issues are referred. Requesters who are affected in a manner different from the general public and who make timely comments articulating personal concerns that are relevant and material to the application and who express those concerns in a timely hearing request are entitled to a hearing. And colleagues, we have about a dozen requests on this item. 5 of them, in my view, have clearly met the procedural and substantive requirements to be entitled to a contested case hearing. So I agree with the executive director and the Office of Public Interest Counsel that we should grant the requests of Scott and Jennifer Daft, Peter Kolsch, Michael Laura, Jim Wall, and Robert Williams. Wilson Lee is a little bit of a closer call. He has misidentified the facility as a sludge processing plant, and his explanation of how he would be personally affected, I thought it was a little thin, but that he nevertheless did just enough to establish a personal justiciable interest. And so I agree with the executive director and OPEC that we should grant Wilson Lee's request as well. I also agree with the executive director's staff and OPIC that we should deny the requests of Neha King, Diana Lawrence, and Jane Ridgway. At over 30 miles from the proposed facility, Ms. King resides too far to be affected in a manner different from the general public. Ms. Lawrence raises only general concerns for the city and its residents. She does not state how she would be personally affected. And Ms. Ridgway failed to provide her property address and failed to identify a personal concern. So again, I would deny those requests. The remaining requests are also a close call. While both Russell Coons and Charles Ruppel live close to the proposed facility, neither provide an explanation of how they would be personally affected by the facility, so I would deny their requests. Michael Stubbe owns property adjacent to the proposed facility. He expresses concern about soil and groundwater contamination. And while he could have been a little bit more direct and a little bit more specific, I do think that he has adequately expressed personal concerns about the application. So I would grant his request. So I had kind of some close calls there. I'm interested to get your take, colleagues. That's how I came out on it anyway. Commissioner Lindley?
I think that was, I'm in agreement. I went back and forth on Mr. Lee, Wilson Lee, but I eventually came down where you came down, and the list of names you rattled off, I'm comfortable granting hearing request to.
Likewise.
All right, let's turn to the issues. Colleagues, I would refer 5 issues as follows: whether the draft permit adequately protects against runoff, whether it protects against surface water and groundwater contamination, whether it protects against dust, odors, and other nuisances identified in TCEQ's rules, whether it protects human health, animal life, and the environment, and finally, whether the application is substantially accurate and complete. I would also allow the full 180 days for the hearing on this matter, and I would deny the requests for reconsideration since they raise only issues that are outside the commission's jurisdiction on this application.
I'm in agreement. Yeah.
I'm as well and have a motion prepared.
Great.
I move that we grant the hearing requests of Scott and Jennifer Daft, Peter Kolsch, Wilson Lee, Michael Laura, Michael Stubb, Jim Wall, and Robert Williams, deny the remaining hearing requests and all requests for reconsideration, refer the application to SOA for contested case hearing on the following issues. A, whether the draft permit adequately protects against runoff of the applied residuals beyond the land application unit or surface disposal site. B, whether the draft permit adequately protects against contamination of surface water and underground drinking water sources in accordance with applicable TCEQ rules. C, whether the draft permit contains sufficient provisions to prevent nuisance conditions, including the minimization of dust and odors in accordance with applicable TCEQ rules. D, whether the draft permit is adequately protective of human health, animal life, and the environment. And E, whether the application is substantially complete and accurate. And finally, move that we set a hearing duration of 180 days from the date of the preliminary hearing until the proposal for decision is issued.
I second.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next item.
Item number 3 is the application by Buck Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant LLC for new Texas Pollutant Discharge Elimination System Permit Number WQ 00161890001. The parties have been notified that the commissioners will not take oral argument but may ask questions, and those who have signed in will be noted for the record.
So colleagues, again, we have a 2-part analysis for considering these requests. Part 1 is about who is entitled to a hearing, and Part 2 is about which issues should be referred. We have 5 requests on this item, and of those, I would grant the request by Dale Connor and Jody and Shelby Garner. They all live close to the facility or the discharge route, and they identify personal concerns that are within our jurisdiction on this application. I would deny the remaining requests. Ms. Heller raises only the effect on property values, which, of course, is outside our authority. Ms. Rogers' property is over 13 miles from the proposed facility, and so she would not be affected in a manner different than the general public. Ms. Lane is a somewhat closer call, but given the relatively modest rate of discharge on this application and that her property is more than 2 stream miles from the outfall, I don't think she has demonstrated how she would be affected in a manner different from the general public. So let me pause there and see how y'all came out.
I'm in agreement.
I reach the same conclusion.
All right, turning to the issues, I would refer the following. Again, I've identified 5 issues. The first is whether the draft permit is protective of water quality, including both surface water and groundwater, whether it is protective of aquatic life, livestock, and wildlife, whether it adequately protects against nuisance odors and vectors, whether it is protective of the health of the requesters, their families, and others residing in the immediate vicinity, and finally, whether the applicant complied with the applicable notice requirements. And again, I'd allow 180 days for this hearing. And given the small number of parties and the manageable list of issues, I would also refer this concurrently to the Alternative Dispute Resolution Program.
I'm in agreement. Yeah.
Likewise.
I've got a motion. My motion's going to lump your 1 and 2, issues 1 and 2 together.
Sure.
If that's okay with you.
Sure.
Well, listen in and make sure it's okay,
Okay.
I should say. I move that we grant the hearing requests of Dale Connor and Jody and Shelby Gardner, deny all other hearing requests, that we refer the application to SOA for a contested case hearing on the following issues. Issue 1, whether the draft permit is adequately protective of water quality, including the protection of surface water, groundwater, aquatic life, livestock, and wildlife, in accordance with applicable regulations, including the Texas Surface Water Quality Standards. Issue 2, whether the draft permit adequately addresses nuisance odors and vectors in accordance with applicable requirements, including 30 Texas Administrative Code, Section 309.13. Issue 3, whether the draft permit is protective of the health of the requesters, their families, and other individuals who reside in the immediate vicinity of the proposed facility and discharge route. And Issue 4, whether the applicant complied with applicable notice requirements. I would also refer the matter to the Commission's Alternative Dispute Resolution Program to run concurrently with SOA's scheduling process and set a hearing duration of 180 days from the date of the preliminary hearing until the proposal for decision is issued.
I second the motion.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next item.
Item number 4 is the application by U.S. Ecology Texas Incorporated for new hazardous waste permit number 50421. The parties have been notified that the commissioners will not take oral argument but may ask questions, and those who have signed in will be noted for the record.
So, colleagues, I've identified 2 requests for a contested case on this hazardous waste permit, one by Mr. Phelan and one, the second request by Mr. Phelan on behalf of For the Greater Good. Because Mr. Phelan resides nearly 20 miles from the proposed facility, he would not be affected in a manner different from the general public. And as for the request by For the Greater Good, it provides no information to establish a personal justiciable interest. So I would deny that request as well and go ahead and issue the permit.
I agree.
I do as well, and we'll make a motion. I move that we deny the hearing requests of Christopher Phelan and For the Greater Good, adopt the executive director's response to comments, and issue hazardous waste permit number 50421 to U.S. Ecology Texas Incorporated as recommended by the executive director.
I second.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next item.
Item number 5 is the consideration of gifts and donations of $500 or more in value given to the TCEQ and submitted for approval in accordance with Chapter 575 of the Texas Government Code. The Executive Director's staff is here to present this item.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. For the record, my name is Yang Tran of the General Law Division, representing the Executive Director. Before you are the gifts and donations that received by the agency in the past 90 days in accordance with Chapter 575 of the Government Code. The Executive Director has accepted these gifts and respectfully requests your acknowledgement of these gifts. As always, I'm available to answer any questions you may have concerning these items.
Thank you, Ms. Tran. I have none. Colleagues, any questions?
No?
Seeing none. Ms. Smith, has anyone signed in to speak?
No one has signed in on this matter.
And what does the Office of Public Interest Counsel think?
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. For the record, I'm Garrett Arthur, Public Interest Counsel at the TCEQ. OPIC recommends approval of the resolution acknowledging acceptance of gifts and donations as presented by the ED.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I really appreciate the gifts to help cover the costs of attending meetings and trainings for our employees. So thanks for those who offered that. And I am also ready to acknowledge acceptance of these gifts.
As am I. I would move that we, excuse me, approve issuance of the resolution acknowledging the Executive Director's acceptance of the gifts and donations contained in the TCEQ Interoffice Memorandum to the Commissioners dated May 15th, 2023, docket number 2023-0368-MIS.
I second the motion.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next items.
This takes us to our enforcement docket, which is items 6 through 33, and the executive director's staff is here to present them.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. For the record, my name is Melissa Cordell of the Enforcement Division, and with me today are Amy Sedemeyer, also of the Enforcement Division, and Gitanjali Yadav of the Litigation Division, representing the Executive Director. Pending before you are items 6 through 33. The total assessed administrative penalties are $916,076, with $105,629 deferred, $184,994 applied towards supplemental environmental projects, and $540,421 to the general revenue. We respectfully request approval of these items and are available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Cordell. I have none. Colleagues, any questions? Seeing none, Ms. Smith, has anyone signed in to speak?
We'll just acknowledge that on 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, and 26, there are individuals who are signed in if the commissioners have any questions. And then we have 2 individuals signed in on 14 stating that they would be on the webinar, but they don't appear to be on the webinar. I guess we'll ask perhaps to unmute for a moment to see if either Ms. Hunt or Ms. Sly is on the webinar.
Ms. Hunt or Ms. Sly, are you there? Had they indicated a desire to speak?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Hunt or Ms. Sly, we can't hear you. Are you there? All right, looks like we're striking out on that. If you're there and you can hear me, go ahead and speak up. All right, let's hear from the Office of Public Interest Counsel, and then we'll come back one more time for those folks. Mr. Arthur, what do you say?
OPIC supports adoption of these enforcement orders as presented by ED staff.
Colleagues, aside from our outstanding item 14, any comments,
No.
thoughts? Okay. Colleagues, I'm going to propose that we just go ahead and move forward.
I'm comfortable with that. Yeah. I can make a motion, I guess. I would move that we recommend, that we adopt items 6 through 33 as recommended by the executive director.
I second the motion.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next item.
Item number 34 is the consideration of the monthly enforcement report, and the executive director's staff is here to present this matter.
Good morning again.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. My name is Melissa Cordell of the Enforcement Division, and with me are Amy Sedemeyer of the Enforcement Division and Gitanjali Yadav of the Litigation Division. We are here to present the monthly enforcement report for fiscal year 2023 through March. There were 562 effective administrative orders issued, and of those, 73 contained supplemental environmental projects. These orders assessed a total of $7,032,818 in penalties, with a payable amount of $4,286,175. $1,878,947 are to be paid toward supplemental environmental projects. 8,387 notices of violation have been issued through either our field offices or review of self-reported data in our central office, and 1,212 enforcement action referrals have been received. There were 2,247 pending administrative orders with 1,033 cases that are on the backlog. 187 cases are pending at the Attorney General's office for representation in district court, and 9 judgments have been issued. 2,189 cases are being tracked for compliance. We have included for review a summary of OCE investigative activities for fiscal years 2021, 22, and 23. We are available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you again, Ms. Cordell. I have none. Colleagues, any questions or comments?
Not at this
Seeing
time.
none. Ms. Smith, is anyone signed in to speak?
No one is signed in on this matter.
Okay, Mr. Arthur?
OPIC has no comment except to say we appreciate the report.
I appreciate the report as well, and colleagues, no action is necessary on this item. So, Ms. Smith, when you're ready, I'll ask you to please call the next item.
Item number 35. I'll let everybody get set up. Sorry, I jumped the gun. Item number 35 is the consideration of the publication of and hearing on proposed amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 114, regarding the control of air pollution from motor vehicles. The Executive Director's staff is here to present this item.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, General Counsel, Public Interest Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I am Edgar Gilmore with the Air Quality Division. With me are Donna Huff, Allison Stokes with the Air Quality Division, and Terry Salem with the Environmental Law Division. For your consideration is item 35, the Executive Director's proposed rulemaking to amend portions of 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 114, Control of Air Pollution from Motor Vehicles. The proposed amendments implement a Vehicle Emissions Inspection and Maintenance, or I&M program in Bexar County to meet Federal Clean Air Act requirements for moderate non-attainment areas under the 2015 8-hour Ozone National Ambient Air Quality Standards, or NAAQS. The proposed amendments also remove Ellis, Johnson, Kaufman, Rockwall, and Wise counties from the list of affected counties required to comply with the state's low Reid vapor pressure control requirements. Staff respectfully requests permission to publish the proposed rulemaking, solicit public comment, and hold public hearings. Staff respectfully requests permission to make non-substantive revisions to comply with Texas Register requirements. Thank you for your consideration, and we're available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Gilmore. I have none. Colleagues, any questions?
No.
And Ms. Smith, is anyone signed in to speak?
No one is signed in on this matter.
And let's hear from the Public Interest Council.
We support the Executive Director's proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, I think I'm certainly ready to move forward with putting this out for public comment and see what the public feels about it.
I agree.
I am as well. I'm torn over whether to address the nitty-gritty piece of in the weeds detail that caught my eye on this one, and that's just the cost of the test. I think our agency commissioned a study to evaluate that factor and found that what an appropriate price would be for that test is actually above where our state is currently charging it into the other airshed. So I think they appropriately fell on consistency statewide and didn't want to add to the sticker shock of the Texas drivers, but I'm interested in that piece. I appreciated staff's inclusion of that in the item. I don't want to belabor it or flesh it out, but I always like to talk about problems more than just sweeping them along, but look forward to seeing if the public has any particular comments on that point.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Certainly solicit comment on that aspect of the rule and the entirety of the rule. Anything else?
No?
I'll provide a motion.
Great.
I move that we approve the publication of and hearing on the proposed amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 114, Control of Air Pollution from Motor Vehicles, as recommended by the Executive Director.
A second.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next items.
Items 36 through 38 are the consideration for publication of and hearing on the proposed DFW Moderate Area Attainment SIP revision, the HDB Moderate Area Attainment Demonstration SIP revision, and the DFW and HDB Moderate Areas Reasonable Further Progress SIP revision, all for the 2015 8-hour ozone NACS. The Executive Director's staff is here to present these items.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I am Allison Stokes with the Air Quality Division. With me are Donna Huff and Edgar Gilmore with the Air Quality Division, and Terry Salem and John Minter with the Environmental Law Division. For your consideration today are items 36, 37, and 38, the Executive Director's proposed revisions to the State Implementation Plan to address attainment demonstration and reasonable further progress requirements for both the Dallas-Fort Worth and Houston-Galveston-Brazoria moderate non-attainment areas for the 2015 8-hour ozone National Ambient Air Quality Standard. The proposed attainment demonstration for the DFW non-attainment area also incorporates the proposed Chapter 114 amendments from item 35 relating to the state's low Reid vapor pressure control requirements into the SIP. Staff respectfully requests permission to publish the proposed SIP revisions, solicit public comment, and hold public hearings. Thank you for your consideration, and we're available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Stokes. I have none. Colleagues, any questions?
No question. I have a quick comment. I should have said this on item 35. Just a big thank you. Air Quality Division is working really hard right now, and I know you have a lot of vacancies. And so I just want to acknowledge, I don't know if I completely understand how much work goes into this, but I appreciate what y'all do. And anyway, just wanted to say that for all these items.
Amen to that. I think at one point in one of your teams, you had more empty chairs than you had full chairs, so we appreciate everything that's gone into getting this package together. All right, where are we?
Sorry.
Ms. Smith, has anybody signed in to speak on these items?
No one has signed in.
Okay, moving on to the Office of Public Interest Counsel.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Executive Director. I'm Eli Martinez with the Office of Public Interest Counsel for the record. Due to the failure to attain the 2015 8-hour ozone NACS in these areas, our office understands the necessity of our agency to submit moderate classification attainment demonstrations and reasonable further progress SIP revisions to the EPA to avoid a finding of failure to submit or going any further down the road of a federal implementation plan. We have noted that the SIP stakeholder meetings and plans for public comments and public hearing include availability of Spanish translations as necessary. We intend to participate in these proceedings and to ensure the Commission is apprised of any public interest issues that may emerge. But at this point in time, we support the proposals. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, again, I think the team has put together a good proposal, and I'm certainly interested to know what the public thinks about it. So I'm ready to move forward and publish this rule package.
I'll make a motion then. I move that we approve the publication of and hearing on the proposed Houston, Galveston, Brazoria, and Dallas-Fort Worth Moderate Attainment Demonstration State Implementation Plan revisions for the 2015 8-hour ozone National Ambient Air Quality Standard, and the proposed Dallas-Fort Worth and Houston, Galveston, Brazoria Moderate Classification Reasonable Further Progress State Implementation Plan revision for the 2015 8-hour ozone National Ambient Air Quality Standard, as recommended by the Executive Director.
I second that motion.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next items.
Items 39 through 41 are the consideration for the publication of and hearing on the proposed Bear County Moderate Area Reasonable Further Progress SIP revision, the Bear County Moderate Area Attainment Demonstration SIP revision, and the Bear County Inspection and Maintenance SIP revision for the 2015 8-hour ozone NACS. The Executive Director's staff is here to present these items.
Good morning again.
Good morning, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I am Allison Stokes with the Air Quality Division. With me are Donna Huff and Edgar Gilmore with the Air Quality Division, and Terry Salem and John Mentor with the Environmental Law Division. For your consideration today are items 39, 40, and 41, the Executive Director's proposed revisions to the State Implementation Plan. These proposed revisions incorporate the proposed Chapter 114 amendments from item 35 into the SIP and address the attainment demonstration and reasonable further progress requirements for the Bexar County moderate non-attainment area for the 2015 8-hour ozone NACS. Staff respectfully request permission to publish the proposed SIP revisions, solicit public comment, and hold public hearings. Thank you for your consideration, and we are available to answer any questions.
Thank you again, Ms. Stokes. I have none. Colleagues, any questions?
No?
Ms. Smith, has anybody signed in to speak?
No one has signed in on these matters.
And Mr. Martinez, is this one yours again?
Yes, Chairman, it is. Good morning again. Eli Martinez with the Office of Public Interest Counsel. We just reiterate that we have the same understanding, concerns about failures to submit or FIPs, and plans for participation as in the previous items. As to item 41, we do appreciate the duty imposed by the Federal Clean Air Act to implement a basic vehicle emissions inspection and maintenance program for moderate non-attainment areas, as well as the corresponding SIP revisions incorporating that INM program. At this point in time, we support the proposals.
Thank you. Colleagues, I'm in the same place. I'm ready to put this proposal out for public comment.
I will provide a motion. I move that we approve the publication of and hearing on the proposed Bexar County Moderate Classification Reasonable Further Progress State Implementation Plan revision for the 2015 8-hour ozone national ambient air quality standard, the proposed Bexar County Moderate Attainment Demonstration State Implementation Plan revision for the 2015 8-hour ozone national ambient air quality standard, and the proposed Bexar County Inspection and Maintenance State Implementation Plan revision, as recommended by the Executive Director.
I second.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next items.
That takes us to items 42 through 45, the quadrennial rule reviews for chapters 9, 15, 19, and 30 of Texas Administrative Code Title 30. The Executive Director's staff is here to present these matters.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I am Gwen Rico with the General Law Division. Pending before you are items 42, 43, 44, and 45, the adopted rule reviews of 30 TAC, Chapter 9, Training, Chapter 19, Electronic Reporting, Electronic Transmission of Information by Commission, Chapter 15, Fleet Vehicle Management, and Chapter 30, Occupational Licenses and Registrations. As required by Texas Government Code Sections 2001.039, Executive Director staff conducted the rule reviews of these chapters to determine if the need for the rules within these chapters continue to exist. The proposed notices for the reviews published in the January 20th, 2023 issue of the Texas Register with a 30-day comment period for all chapter reviews. No comments were received during the public comment period. Based on the reviews of these chapters, the Executive Director has determined that the reason for the rules in chapters 19, 19, 15, and 30 continue to exist. In conclusion, we respectfully recommend approval of the adoption of the rule reviews of 30 TAC chapters 9, 19, 15, and 30. Additionally, staff requests authorization to make non-substantive revisions necessary to comply with the Texas Register requirements. Thank you. The project managers and attorneys assigned to each of these chapters are here with us to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Rico. I have none. Colleagues, any questions?
No?
Ms. Smith, has anybody signed in to speak?
No one is signed in.
And let's turn to the Public Interest Council.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Executive Director. I'm still Eli Martinez with the Office of Public Interest Counsel. For the record, our office has considered the quadrennial rule reviews for chapters 9, 19, 15, and 30, listed as items 42 through 45 in today's agenda, and we agree that the reasons for initially adopting these rules continue to exist, and we therefore support readoption.
Thank you. I do too. We still need these rules for statutory compliance, among other reasons. We identified no need for amendments. There was no public comment. So I'm ready to readopt the entire lot.
As am I, I'd move that we adopt the rule revisions and readopt the rules in 30 Texas Administrative Code, chapters 9, 15, 19, and 30 without amendment.
Before you stated adopt the rule revisions, did you
Oh,
mean rule reviews?
I did mean rule reviews. Thank you.
I second that motion.
Okay.
The corrected motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Ms. Smith, when you're ready, please call the next items.
The commission will meet in closed session in Building E, Room 211S at, let's say now, at 10:18, as permitted by the Open Meetings Act, including Texas Government Code Sections 551.071 and 551.074, to take up and consider matters pursuant to item numbers 46 through 49 as posted and noticed.
The time is 10:17 a.m. We are in recess.
The commission met in Building E, Room 211S for closed session from 10:18 until 11:22 a.m. on item numbers 47 through 49 as posted and noticed pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551074. No action was taken. This agenda stands adjourned, and the time is 11:24.